once again, folks, feel free to come to the front. Right, this is not a school class. Right, this is going to be a fun, interactive session. And I understand, right? It's a we came from Delhi all the way, bringing a lot of rain along with us. So we keep this fun. If you have any questions for me or Gaurav, feel free to chip in, right? And we would love to answer them as we go along, right? But before all of that, Gaurav, thank you so much for doing this.
Pleasure,
Right?
pleasure.
For those of you who do not know Gaurav has been Gaurav is as old as Google in the internet world. Right? Gaurav started his career way back in the late 90s and has been dabbling with all things digital since then. Some of his more popular, famous stints have been across Naukri, Monster, obviously likes of Jagran, Amar Ujala, Hindu, and of course our homegrown brand of Rajasthan, Patrika. Right? But more importantly, it was in 2015 that Gaurav got the founder bug and Gaurav started his own company. But Gaurav, I would love to hear from you. How do you describe yourself when you are chatting with the audience like this?
I mean, the way you said that I've been there since inception, it's good that you didn't compare me with the age of dinosaurs. I must have seen one or two had it been that late. But yeah, I mean, I was lucky enough that I was a part of the first budding generation of dot-coms.
Yes.
When internet entered the market. True. And so as to say, internet was something more of a magic at that time.
Yes.
People didn't believe.
Yes.
They always thought you were a trickster trying to create something on the web. But more on when the internet started intercepting our lives and started to make a difference. We then realized that it's a product which is there for a convenience to make things better and effective.
Yes.
And then products around it started. They started budding and blossoming, and in a wink and a fry, I would say 3-4 years, we had internet all around us.
Yes.
We started understanding it, accepting it, and in that way we also grew in terms of our understanding how to utilize the medium, which is so powerful, which made all of us stand today where we are as an economy, as a society.
Yeah. All right. So Gaurav, you mentioned a couple of things in this small introduction. What I want to double click upon is specifically your transition from somebody who was working for some of the biggest brands in the industry, especially English-focused brands, likes of Web18 and Hindu, right? And from there, you taking the leap and to start building out the digital products for niche brands or Hindi-focused brands or likes of Jagar and Amar Ujala and then Patrika. You seem to have an uncanny belief in the power of regional languages, right? One question for you, why, right? But more importantly, how have you seen the Hindi landscape? Because यहाँ पे बहुत सारे लोग की हिंदी वेबसाइट्स है, हिंदी कंटेंट वेबसाइट्स है. इनफैक्ट बहुत लोगों की यहाँ पे पहली वेबसाइट ही हिंदी कंटेंट वेबसाइट होगी, है ना? तो आपका क्यों इतना विश्वास? आपको क्या लगता है कि ऐसा क्या है कि भाई ये कि मतलब हिंदी लैंग्वेज पे ही काम करना है? पहली बात. दूसरा सवाल, आपने क्या चेंज देखा है पिछले 4-5 सालों के अंदर हिंदी स्पेसिफिक कंटेंट लैंडस्केप के अंदर, है ना? हाँ.
So as to say, I must compliment you. It's a very good question, and I'll start my answer with a pun. हम YRF से TVF पे आ गए हैं. From यशराज Films, we are consuming the viral figure.
True.
जो पुरानी कथाओं में आदम ज़माने की अप्सराएं होती थी, वो अब गुल्लक मिर्जापुर में पाई जाती हैं.
बिल्कुल.
So a common man and a common characters are much more accepted now.
Yes.
Secondly, I will not call them vernaculars. I will call them other Indian languages. They are more eccentric towards a culture in a different geographic location of the country, and they have contributed the larger sphere in terms of the growth of that region. Now, let me put it on a very simpler way. that we all have been boasting upon that India carried on the biggest vaccination drive in the country.
Correct.
I mean, the census is getting delayed for 6 months, 8 months, year and a half. Had the census been concluded, we must have crossed 150.
Yes.
150 million mark.
For sure.
So, to carry out vaccination for 150 million people, it was just the power of vernacular languages that we were able to carry that forward.
Yes.
There was a small chatbot. It didn't ask for a cost of crores of rupees. It was merely a cost of 50,000 rupees. But that chatbot enabled you to book appointments in your own native language.
Yes.
So that everybody got vaccinated. That's the power of Indian languages or the vernaculars. And that was, mind you, the biggest vaccination drive the world has ever seen.
Yes.
Secondly, when you say that what was the conviction in Hindi as a language, I come from a village. I come from a remote village in Rajasthan where even Hindi was difficult.
Yes.
We had our own traditional Rajasthani language which we used to speak. I was born and brought up with those values. And somehow my education didn't have major part of Hindi in it. But my roots had Hindi. So I was always inclined towards contributing something in Hindi. So whenever I got an opportunity, after CNN IBN, I jumped into Amar Ujala, which was a state, a newspaper which was serving into Haryana, Punjab, Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir and Uttar Pradesh. So this was majorly a major part of the Hindi heartland, where I realized what are grassroots issues. Because how much technology you have, how much algorithms and robots you have, ultimately the most Midas touch in everything is that human touch.
Yeah.
कर तो हम सब एक इंसान के लिए ही रहे हैं.
Yes.
And we want that human touch to happen. Yes. So that's where I realized that the power of English is super. It made us aware. It made us part of the global village. But if we have to take people along, the vernaculars, the Indian languages have to have the power.
That's true.
And how it happened is that there was often a myth कि जो CNN IBN का edit है, जो तो हिंदू का edit है, जो एक्सप्रेस लिख रहा है, वो ये यूपी, बिहार, राजस्थान की हिंदी लैंग्वेज कभी समझ नहीं पाएगी. That was a wrong myth, which was broken by the power of internet.
Yes.
Because now by the help of internet, analytics and all these tools, what we see is that बिहार पटना से आया हुआ श्यामलाल आज वो पढ़ रहा है जो यूएसए में बैठा हुआ माइकल पढ़ रहा है.
Correct.
So we are on the common sphere. That is the beauty of internet. It is enabling us. We always have that capacity to understand, comprehend and adopt what knowledge is there. But these languages, they were so powerful, they made it happen in front of us.
Okay. I think that's a fantastic answer and puts into perspective that जो end reader है उस पे focus वो अब बहुत ज़्यादा जागरूक हो गया है. एंड रीडर के पास में इंटरनेट है, नो मैटर कि वो कहाँ पे हो, वो झुंझुनू में हो या ग्वालियर में हो, इंटरनेट हैज enabled people and that is a big factor, right? Now help me understand, so how has the Hindi landscape, now how does this, if we just flip this completely to say what's the opportunity for these guys? They're all builders, they're all writers, editors, product managers, founders. इन लोगों के लिए इसका मतलब क्या होता है? ये opportunity है कितनी बड़ी after all?
Today we are blessed as a country that we have around 810 million internet users.
Correct.
We have 81 crore internet users.
Yes.
Now floodgates are open. I'm sure everybody must have seen Lagan. When the moment Amir Khan hits that 6, the floodgates open. Yes. Everybody runs towards that pitch. Internet is like that. It opened opportunities for all of us. How that opportunity empowered us was that today around 7 lakh videos are being watched on YouTube every hour. Around 2,500 videos are uploaded on YouTube every hour. Around 6 billion blog posts are posted on the web every day. It is that huge a content.
Correct.
From where does it comes? Only English can't produce that.
Yes.
English is such novice that it's only doing 20% of it. The rest, 80% is been done by the other Indian languages.
Right.
But now what is happening? when so much of content is being produced, what is it seeking? The most essential part there is attention.
Correct.
So now what we are doing, oh man, this video, this content leak got famous. Why don't we do that? So everybody is creating another replica of what has been a success.
Correct.
But there we left originality. So that is now coming from the most remote areas where we never imagined it would come up. So there lies a huge opportunity because markets are open. The content distribution channel has been exposed. Earlier it was on the mercy of the big media houses.
Correct.
Today you are open to distribute your content.
Yes. Thanks to Facebook, TikTok, YouTube.
Thanks to organic search.
Yes. Yeah.
Thanks to a lot of aggregators.
Yes.
Thanks to Facebook.
Yeah.
Thanks to WhatsApp.
Yeah.
But there lies a catch 22. For example, there is a strong story which I read on WhatsApp. I'll tell you what are the difference between media consumption patterns on WhatsApp vis-a-vis on Facebook. Now, whenever you're reading something on Facebook, you have an anchor point. Either some page or some person has posted it.
Correct.
Or created it.
Yes.
But what you get served on WhatsApp is something which is forwarded.
Yes.
You don't know who created it. You don't know the source. You just blindly following it. There's a story in Hyderabad. There's a Hyderabad boy, 14-year-old boy, has got a job in Google. And Google has offered him a salary of 1.4 crores.
Yes.
16 years boy.
Yeah.
The moment I saw that, I was sure that it's a fake news. Why? This guy is not even eligible to get a US visa. How would he get a job? But everybody is circulating it. Bharat Mata ki jai, job mil gayi. That's how it is.
Yeah.
That often being smart, people are being fooled by marketers, by publishers, by content creators.
Yeah.
If today internet brings you freedom, it brings you a larger responsibility
Also.
that you should serve the content which is rare, relatable, yet raw, which is original, which will serve people in a larger way. And also, we often have jobs, but when we all are content creators, our first job is to educate the reader. If we can't gratify him in terms of knowledge, अगर आपका रीडर है, आप उसको ज्ञान नहीं दे पा रहे, उसे नॉलेज नहीं दे पा रहे, you are doing a one-way job to make your money, and that's not going to sustain. So here, when you've got all sort of copy happening, even if you do a single sort of original content, that will have a lot of takers in the market, as well as it will have a lot of purchase.
Got it. Okay. So, with the power of content creation also comes the responsibility of creating valuable content that is delivering a promised value and not clickbaity, fake news content. Absolutely agree. Okay. So now I want to shift the gear and start talking about, so you've obviously seen the internet from the days of where a HTML file had to be uploaded on the internet using a VSNL connection to the day where children can write a command and their questions are answered within like a few seconds, right? The landscape has shifted drastically in the last 20 years, right? What remains common is you cannot cheat the reader, you cannot trick the reader, and even if you manage to do so, it won't last. Maybe you will make money for a day, a week, a few months here and there, but it's not sustainable, and that's something we can all agree upon, right? So given that common denominator कि यार ये तो करना ही करना है, अगर ये नहीं किया तो फिर क्या किया, है ना? So assuming that everybody on the content, all content creators and all publishers are creating content to deliver certain value, right? उसके ऊपर we'll add a layer of let's try to do this content in regional languages, right? Hindi, for example, specifically, right? Which is what this audience largely consists of, right? So ये तो हमारे basics हो गए. चलिए अब बताइए given how drastically things have shifted, specifically from a content distribution and content marketing point of view, एक पहले एक landscape था Google search, पहले वहाँ से बहुत traffic आता था. People used to search a lot of content and so on, right? One big change which has happened in the last few years is, when I search for a question on the internet, on Google, I get the answer directly. I don't have to click on a link. If I want to know the birth date of Mahatma Gandhi, I don't have to go to a blog. I will get the birth date of Mahatma Gandhi and I'll move on to my next question in life. Right. This obviously is impacting a lot of publishers who are creating a lot of content. So this is called as zero-click search. आपको पता ही होगा, है ना? So given this, so content discovery, you started seeing shift happening from Google search to other channels, right? What has been your experience? Because you are hands-on with content creation. You are a creator yourself. You run multiple brands, right? What have you seen changing specifically in the last 2 years on this front of content discovery? What is working? What is not working? What's your reading right now?
A very good question. But when content does a time travel,
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are we doing? We all publishers or newsroom owners. Ultimately, what we are doing is we are storytellers.
Yes.
We are telling a story. Today, you should have algorithms, you should have data, you should have softwares, but they should all contribute towards you creating a superlative story which touches people. For a storyteller to touch people, you need to have the end user into your mind. For example, today data tells me, do you consume this, then why there, then I'm automated. Where is that originality happening there? In terms of not my originality to the treatment, to the topic I am creating the content on. As you said on the discoverability, we are on the mercy of algorithms.
Yeah. Yes.
So algorithms are playing with us.
Yes.
I've seen a video which says Pakistan is a 200-300 billion giant economy. Some fake news. And every time I'm coming to consume a video, every time that's been thrown. So what is happening? I, human, who is smart enough to drive an algorithm, is being played around by the algorithm itself.
Correct.
But how can I escape myself? Had I been smart, I would always flip my user point, my readership point. I'll have 5 or 6 perspectives on the same topic from 5 to 6 different publishers. But if I'm just flipping, I'm wasting my time.
Right.
Secondly, the way you said how the content creation has evolved and changed, it has not changed to a much deal. Today, if I say that there was an article of edit on Indian Express, जब चौटाला जी के घर इंदिरा जी आई थी और उन्होंने कहा था कि मेरी सरकार गिरने वाली आप बचाएं, वहां पे रसगुल्ले परोसे गए थे और समोसे परोसे गए थे. You'd say, what funny thing is that? That's the story part of it. That's the human part of it. We all know there are 2 ministers meeting, they have to talk about politics. But where is the story in it? That story we often miss. We are miffed. We are gone away with कि कौन सी हीरोइन क्या कपड़े पहन रही है, कौन सा कुत्ता घुमा रही है, ये हिंदी ऑडियंस नहीं चाहती है. हम इससे बोर हो चुके हैं. We don't want Urfi Javed.
Yes.
We are happy with Javed Akhtar. We can listen to him, we can read to him, relate to him. But we are not a Urfi Javed audience, which we are imposed to.
Yeah.
ये वर्नाक्स है, ये हिंदी audience है, they are sticking to that. No, it is not. It is just not. If you compare the comments which are coming on an English article, compare it with Hindi article, you will find quality of questions and impulsuations of the same article being posted, which you will find it's difficult to find in English. Just because we were in a wrong opinion that Hindi user is a backward user.
Right.
He must be coming from a very remote place, but he is way much ahead in terms of his grasping knowledge, his grasping power in terms of, because he didn't have the opportunity of web or the big libraries to curate knowledge, but he had the will. The one who has the will is smart enough,
Right.
and smarter than the one who has the let's say opportunities on offer to read.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So now, how does that change? So, given that the Hindi audience is now becoming way more smarter, they're also consuming content across different formats. From a content marketing point of view, right? If Google search is going to be limited, and there are algorithms which are going to be driving our recommendation feeds, right? What else should publishers who are genuinely creating authentic content, right? There are a lot of publishers over here right now who are putting a lot of time and energy to create really good, solid content, right? What should they be tapping on to say, okay, here is the next channel that I want to bet my energy on to market my brand and to acquire new audience? मैं नए readers कहाँ से लाऊं? Simple सा सवाल है, बताओ.
Now, let's say a remotest of the place. The way education is spreading, Rajasthan still is not a 100% educated state. When I was in my school days, I was told that Kerala is closest to 100% literacy.
Yeah.
Even closest was called 83%. So now, with the wink of technology, the time which we have travelled in terms of making our citizens literate in the next 10 years, that's been covered in the past 2 years.
Right.
All those people who were not willingly coming to get educated online were by force came during the COVID period.
Correct.
So once the market is getting educated, we are having more readers being connected.
Yes.
Two, as I said, those 81 crore internet users, they are there to do something. They are there to consume something.
Sure.
So when they are consuming it, it's our responsibility in terms of what we are producing.
Yeah.
So now, if today I find that maximum of my audience is coming from Kerala, if I can't spare my resources to create something very meaningful for Kerala, specifically if I find the issue is the youth of Kerala is not able to find how to take their travel to global parameters or global indexes where they should get a direct entry. Why they should be getting a tourist coming from a Delhi gateway wherein 30% of their margins have been taken away. If I am a true publisher, if I create something which is helpful for them, we will adopt it. The best example is Google Glass. Google launched Google Glass in the year 2013.
Correct.
Today we are in 2023.
Yes.
Where is Google Glass now? It's nowhere. Why? Because we didn't use it. It was not of our use. Had it there for a use for us, had it been benefiting us, it have taken leaps and bounces. Today we would have been doing everything, on a Google Glass.
Correct.
With the help of AI, half of the job must have been done. You would have been asking me questions without speaking, and they would have been getting my answer without me being answering it. But it's nowhere because it's ultimately not benefiting me into my day-to-day life.
Right.
So even the largest of inventions are very, very, very minuscule if you think about the purpose for which you are creating the content.
Sure.
If my purpose and my intent is clear, I will have millions of takers any day, any hour of the day, or any year or any era. If my intent and my purpose is clear to me.
Correct. So what you're saying is you need to understand what your audience wants, where your audience is coming from, understand their needs and intent very, very clearly, right? Okay, so this is point well taken. Help me understand how does that translate into which marketing channel should I be investing in, right? Is it Google search? Is it so is it SEO? Is it Google Discover? Is it Google News? Is it YouTube? Is it whatever Facebook instant articles? They are dead. But like what? So I've done the hard work. I have some traffic on my website. I try to understand my audience. ठीक है, regional लोग हैं, ये segment है, ये age group है, ये gender group है, कर लिया. अब the most difficult part is कि यार traffic grow करना है, business grow करना है. How do what do you think is popular right now, for lack of a better word?
So if I have to choose a content vehicle for my content to travel to my audience, I would say first up I'll back my horses to go towards organic.
Okay.
Because that's like the biggest win in the market. A. B. It's here to stay. If anything, which is one on organic, that has superlative value.
Mm-hmm.
B, if I am to choose about the paid mediums or the easygoing mediums, where 90% of the space has been occupied by big players, I have to choose what my content consume. I have to have a backward integration. I have to understand media consumption patterns of my audience.
Mm-hmm.
If today, let's say, I am a Delhi guy, everybody knows HT must be serving me.
Sure.
Had I been a Mumbai guy, I know TOI is serving me.
Correct. Okay.
Because they both have their separate strong shield in those respective markets.
Mm-hmm.
Same is I have to understand from where my audience is coming and what are their consumption patterns. So today, social is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
It can get you leverage, but gone are those days. Today, even social is not helping you, irrespective of how big and small brand you are, because it's all being paid.
Mm-hmm.
I would say one can always rely on organic. Secondly, I would say there are a lot of takers on forums, discussion boards. Mm-hmm. If you take your content in the form of a question and you post it out there, you will find a regular traffic coming to you out of there.
Correct. So you're saying leveraging some of these alternate channels to build in your traffic. Interesting. Okay. One question that a lot of publishers used to ask us, and this is from a webinar which we did last week, is they want to understand this whole recommendation game, because a lot of traffic now comes to them from recommendation feeds like Google Discover or Taboola feed. Taboola feed is not recommended, it's more paid, but Google Discover and Facebook feed now no more prioritizes news content, and as you said, it's largely a dead asset for most brands. They have followers, but there's nobody's a real follower there. If you have to just focus on Google Discover, right? And like you have played a lot on Google Discover over the last few years, right? What's been your experience like so far? And what do you think is required to master that specific channel? Like, give us your top 3 takeaways.
Once you talk about Google Discover, Google Discover is majorly projected on the Google app,
Correct.
Google search app.
Yes.
It's not there on Chrome.
Yes.
So now, if you see, it's a carousel. It's initially a carousel.
Mm-hmm.
So now you first up know that people who are technically a bit advanced, people who are smarter at handling the devices are coming there and consuming your content. So first up, you know that very less third grade content or below the belt content would be entertained there.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be informative, you have to be subjective, yet you have to be very relevant on what is happening on the current grounds. If you are optimizing on all these 3 points, I'm sure you'll have a high weightage drawn towards your side on Discover as well. Yet these are very early days for Discover.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very skewed or vague to say something on the search index parameters on which Discover is working.
Yeah.
But I think these patterns should surface in the next 8 to 10 months.
Correct. Okay. So because yes, for most part, as you correctly said, Google Discover remains largely unreliable. बहुत publishers हैं यहाँ पे जिनको Discover से traffic आता है, फिर नहीं आता है. बहुत दिनों तक नहीं आता है.
विवेक, आप ये समझिए आता है, but they still don't know क्यों आता है.
हाँ, उन्हें नहीं पता कि क्यों आया, कि ऐसा क्या करे कि कल फिर से आए या फिर अगले हफ्ते फिर से आए.
Because there is still no white paper released by Google.
Yeah.
Neither there has been any update, might it be Panda or Penguin,
Yes.
which relates to the search, and they crack that this is the pattern on which content is riding and is surfacing as a search result.
Correct.
Or the content is having its discovery.
Okay, perfect. So Discover remains a black box, but you believe that we will get some visibility in next 6 to 8 months.
We will crack it in a year's time.
Perfect. Okay. Help me understand. Now let's move to content formats. Right. So there is articles, and then there are videos, and then there are image carousels, right? But the biggest fad that has been there has been stories. Stories were introduced by Snapchat, Facebook copied them, then they went to LinkedIn, and then finally in 20, I think 17 or 18 is when Google adopted it. It rolled out much later, right? And finally now web stories has started becoming a very popular format, right? What's been your experience with that specific content format type? What do you think of it?
Well, I am sure if there's something from Google, someone is here from Google, thanks to Google that we were the first partners to Google in India among all big publishers, and we were the first creators. Me and all my colleagues here, we were the first creators of web stories, along with all the major media houses of the country. Google profiles that videos are not here to stay. If you see that the major video consumption is happening either on Reels, or it's happening on Facebook.
Facebook Watch, yeah.
So now you see that the largest content bank, which has 99% of their active user time, is not even tagged, is not even categorized. Today I go and search for a sports video. Facebook doesn't give me the freedom. I can't search.
Yes.
So that's a dump, yeah.
It really recommends you. Yes. Yeah.
It just comes.
It just shows up magically.
It just saves my behavioral cookie.
Yes.
What did I saw the last time? What did I saw an hour back? It will throw the same behavioral cookie to me. Videos associated with the same brands or same channels which I consume, they'll come.
Sure.
They have stipulated 5-6 different search trends which will just reproduce the content in front of me. But I think these houses understand that it's just to increase the time spent of the audience on my platform. I don't want them to go away, but it's a waste of time. I'll just drift apart a bit from that. There is a myth which goes on. Everything is happening on 30 seconds. 30 second का वीडियो है, लंबा क्यों बना रहे हो? चलेगा नहीं. Today we got people who are investing 1,000 crores to create a video which is like 3 hours, and we are paying 500 rupee ticket.
Towards
we are paying 100 rupee parking, going in a theater and watching it. Why? Because there are takers in the market. If you have got a good content, relatable content, people will spend 5 hours. You are saying 30 seconds, people will spend 5 hours. 2 hours travel time and 3 hours movie. And they'll pay for it.
Yes.
Because it relates to their need. They want to get entertained. There are technical people who are watching videos which are over even 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Then came a theory which said 200 words articles, shorts. What is that shorts today? आज मैं 4 लोगों में बैठा हूँ, सबने पढ़ा वो शॉर्ट्स में, पहलवान धरने पे बैठे हैं, एंड वो बुद्धिमान हो गए, सबके साथ बैठे कि हाँ पहलवान धरने पे बैठे हैं, बोले हाँ पहलवान धरने पे बैठे हैं, क्यों बैठे हैं, कहाँ बैठे हैं, कब से बैठे हैं, उनकी समस्या क्या है, वो कौन सुलझाएगा, क्या वो एड्रेस हुई है, ये नहीं पता, पर पहलवान धरने पे बैठे हैं, तो बुद्धि का पहलवान भी धरने पे ही बैठा है, तो उसे खड़ा करने के लिए आपको इतने जहमत उठानी पड़ेगी कि आपको 250 वर्ड से नहीं होगा, आपको 2000 वर्ड पढ़ने पड़ेंगे कि कुश्ती संघ क्या है, उसका चयन कैसे होता है चेयरमैन का, उसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज क्या हैं, इनके राइट्स क्या हैं, इनके राइट्स को वायलेट किया जाए तो उसके लिए सॉल्यूशंस क्या हैं. बट देयर आर पीपल विद द इन्वेंशन ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी and the reach, internet has made us powerful, that often when we read like this, we find there is a fool in ourselves with which we are really scared of. So we discover more knowledge about it. We curate, we create knowledge around it. We read more stuff. So today I say, either you will get a threat that, oh my God, I'm gone. I'm writing 1,000 words. Game to 200 words ke logon ka hai. They are my agents. They are making the market educate that there is the issue of Pahlwans happening. They will come to my article to read 1,000 liner article because I have invested.
Yes.
I have the intent. I have the purpose that yes boss, if you want to read about the correct issue with correct facts, I have here. So these guys are sending my invitation cards to them.
Got it.
So people are coming with the intent to get it consumed.
Yes. Okay. So So on web stories per se, yeah. So going back to the web story itself, right? So what's your take? I know it's a very short, snappy. It's not a video. It's not a video. It's neither a short 200-word article. It's not a video. What is it? What's your take on that?
First of all,
I get the answer. I get your disappointment with short articles and short videos. Absolutely agreed upon. Yes. So what does it mean for us?
It's my bad that I missed upon and I got carried away, relating and drifting apart,
sure.
And I lost the majority of the part of the question.
Huh.
So coming back to that, web story was created with the intent that irrespective of how video does in future, like I give you example of Google Glasses, what it will do is not known. What Discover will be like is not known. Same was the case with videos. Because India today with 810 million internet users, India has the cheapest internet cost in the world.
Yeah.
India has the largest per capita internet consumption in the world.
Right.
Now what is happening with that? That are videos growing? No, they are not. Because data is becoming costlier. And it's bound to become more and more costlier. Whenever there is a big dent in your pocket happening with any product, it will go less in demand.
Correct.
It will be over in supply, which has happened to videos now. Mm-hmm. So they thought, why not to create a homogeneous mixture where it's not like a text, which is a dead rubber, yet it has visual effects.
True.
Though, third, it doesn't take much of your data. For people who are living in remote areas, where still we are talking about 5G, where they're struggling to find a 2G somewhere.
Yeah.
They should also be able to participate in the read. With that intent, Google created web story. Mm-hmm. Now, web story has slides. 1, 2, 3. At a single go, only one slide is getting loaded. So it's consuming minimum of your data.
Yeah.
Yet it's serving you maximum of the content. Third, it's considering the user timing or timelines which he spends on an article, that we have restless users which are spending lower than 10 seconds on an article. By the virtue of web stories, I'm able to dwell that time spent to an extent of 40 seconds. Right. Because even if I take 4 seconds on a slide and I flip on 10 slides, that's I end up consuming or investing 45 seconds on it.
Yes. No, that's a very interesting take, right? Given how high bounce rates are, and given session duration is a big problem in a publisher's life, right? This approach is I've never heard anybody articulate web story the relevance in this context, that it actually helps you build your brand recall and helps you actually stay with the user for a much longer duration. In fact, बहुत लोगों का website duration actually would be lesser than their time spent on web stories itself. Interesting. Okay, so web stories are somewhere between articles and videos, right? They are.
It's a hybrid content.
It's a hybrid content. Super engaging, as you said, right? Tap. Maintain, get context, switch and go deeper as you go along, right? What have you guys tried at Newswala across your brands in terms of web stories? I know you've been playing with it for a very, very long time, right?
Very
good
question.
Yeah.
So now, what a web story does, anything which comes across to us with a piece of information with which we are not familiar, we'll try to read couple of lines and they'll try to escape. नहीं यार, ये तो बहुत heavy हो रहा है. मैं समझूंगा कैसे, मैं जानूंगा कैसे. For that, the best thing is to break it down. So you are getting to know about a piece of information at a single go. And when you join the dots, by the time you end up on the 10th slide, you have consumed the issue as a whole, yet investing your brain for the entire issue at a single point. If I have to tell you how humans evolved, it was orangutan, gibbon, chimpanzee, ape, human. That's the evolution of human. But having I been telling you at a single go, it would be difficult. If I articulate it in the form of picture, text to it, picture, text to it. In 5 slides, it's so convenient. It's so easy to consume.
Yes, 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 absolutely. Okay, so I want to now segue into the most burning topic on the internet right now, which is generative AI and generative AI content, and how do you see generative AI being used in editorial teams, in newsrooms, by journalists, by freelancers, by writers, right? What's your take on that right now, as we stand right now?
A very, very relevant question. I must compliment you on that, Vivek. On a larger sense, for all of us to understand, even for me myself, I'm also in a learning cog for the same. So I would say, I'll pick up from where I left the last time, that we created algorithms for our smartness. Now algorithms are playing villains to us. That just because we are getting everything easy, now it's a mobile age. So my both thumbs are not getting used. I'm on a single thumb theory. That is why organic searches have been dropped. Till the time we were on laptops and desktops, we were making 20 to 30 searches every day. Now we hardly make any. We just swap and we get discoverability of the content. So now what is happening is that with AI has helped us a lot in terms of you can see what's trending, what's not, what's to write, what not to write. On the same way, AI has made very setback kind of approach with, I must have a mention of chatbot, Bard. Now, first up, all the content which is created on chatbot and Bard,
Yeah.
I mean, that is not crawlable by Google bot.
Okay.
Google will never crawl them. How it would be used is that the big publishing houses of the country, they would say that if the big event is happening, we will write a precursor of the same through a bot. And the bot will give me 4 paragraph, 1,000 words. And whatever is the main event, I will put across 2 paragraphs to it. My job gets done. I'm ready with a 1,500 word article, which either way I would have invested 5 people 6 hours to it. But now every media house is doing it.
Correct.
So you are punching in more and more duplicate content.
Yeah.
Because a bot can't produce a different result just because a different man has conducted a search.
Yes.
Because it's bounded by keywords at the back end. There are buckets of content on which the content is stored. It's just pulling up and throwing away. Nothing else.
Sure.
And chatbot is doing what we are asking them to do. With an advent of chatbot, there will be a lot of convenience that whatever content was not live, which was holding in archives, will come into play because India is the 3rd largest ecosystem of startups. Once our startups and technology will marry with those chatbots, I'm sure a lot of meaningful products will come up. It's a very new interface of bots which we are just coming to terms with. It's a high tide of change. But we should know that every war is being won when you have ride the tide, that to a high tide. So if we will remain a bit distant to that in terms of our content creation, yet we remain very close to it in terms of our ideation, it will work magics.
Right.
But if we all depend on these chatbots to get the content created,
With Paresh.
what it will do is that it will put you across those 95% same copy content which is there in the market.
Yeah.
And rest 5 will enjoy.
Yeah.
So it's better to be on the 5% side because more and more the content will be in practice. This content will be in practice and acceptance. More and more duplicate content will be produced in million folds.
Right.
If earlier had it taken 5 years to have 2,000 million duplicate content, it will be created in 7 weeks.
Yes.
Or good say 3 months.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. So still exploratory. Don't over depend on it. Use it to enable yourself. not replace yourself?
It's fire, play with caution.
Play with caution. All right, Gaurav, thank you so much for that conversation. Very interesting. It's a very interesting perspective on web stories and generative AI. Right. I would throw the floor open for questions. Guys, if you have any questions for Gaurav, feel free to chip in, raise your hand. Gaurav, an expert on media, all things digital, managing PNL, understands the media industry in and out. Gaurav, for you. Any questions? If not, we'll just move on to the next part of the evening. Right? That's okay. It's small audience. Please. Yeah.
Subscription for their website. So, what is the future and what do you see?
Very good question. Thank you for asking the same. A lot of big media houses of the country have gone towards subscription model. Though the real value of it will come in the next 5 to 10 years. But if you see, when I say big media houses, if I talk about HT, Times of India and Jagran, their subscription model currently contributes to around 1.5% of their total revenue. Maximum of which is being generated by Indian Express because of their podcast. They were the early market entrants with podcast. They started audio podcast good 3 years back, with which they are making good benefits too. But that podcast is community based, is affinity based and interest based. As far as subscription is considered, if we talk about the evolved markets like US, Europe, like I talk about the Sydney Morning Herald, the Washington Post, if I talk about Aftonbladet in Sweden, these guys are very evolved markets and they are into subscription for the past 12 years. Still, they have not been able to cross a barrier of 10% to 12% of their total revenue. And as far as we are concerned, तो आपका बाकी का जवाब मैं हिंदी में दूंगा अगर अपराध नहीं होगा तो हाँ जी. So बात ये है कि हम भी आज लालाजी का अखबार इस कारण पढ़ रहे हैं क्योंकि अखबार के साथ में स्कीम आती है. उस स्कीम में 800 रुपए का डब्बा फ्री आता है, किताबों में कवर चढ़ते हैं और 400 रुपए की रद्दी बिकती है. तो टोटल मुझे अखबार की कॉस्ट के लिए पैसे देने नहीं पड़ते, अखबार मुझे पैसे दे के जा रहा है. जिस दिन अखबार मेरी जेब से साल के 5,000 रुपए लेगा तो मैं नमस्ते कर दूंगा. सब्सक्रिप्शन भी इंडियन कस्टमर इज वेरी कॉस्ट सेंट्रिक. If it will hit its pocket, he will not. Because you have a lot of free mediums. You got the biggest free medium, which is internet. You will shy away from an instrument, a print instrument, which is binded 10 hours back. If it's an e-paper subscription, if it's a website subscription, I am not choosing what I want. जो उन्होंने लिख के दिया मैं वही पढ़ूंगा. So I don't have my readership freedom. So India में, if it's taken, let's say 12 years, to reach to 15 to 12% in evolved markets, it will take 25 years to even reach 10%. Mark my words.
उस प्रोसेस में अभी नहीं जाना चाहिए.
ट्राई और टेस्ट करना बुरा नहीं है. टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया ने पहली बार आईपीएल के आफ्टर पार्टी राइट्स लिए थे. दे बर्न देयर फिंगर्स फॉर 50 करोड़. आज तक दोबारा नहीं. यू हैव द आंसर.
All right. Okay. You have a question. Then bye.
Continuation to that.
Sure.
So, like subscription model, like in White Times, Washington Post, it works for them, right? So, but there is also another model that is like a second part to it, which works for Wikipedia, like donation. Do you think Indian market sites can be built over those models in time or something like that?
By donations, you mean public participation.
Not just public participation, and Wikipedia it runs via donation, not just the content, but they run via donation, right? So something like that.
I mean, he wanted to crowdsourcing or you know. Am I correct?
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
just another form of related revenue.
So now,
subscription donations. Yeah.
Today, you see that Wikipedia is being crowdsourced. There was a time when we were conducting organic searches. The first search result which was coming was Wikipedia, and we always were referring to Wikipedia. Where is Wikipedia today? In the past 10 days of your read and discoverability, did you cross your paths with Wikipedia? It was a very good time then when we were based on input where we are investing ourselves to search on something. So people will put money. मैं search करता हूँ ये result देता है. Now we ourselves are just on the slave of a thumb. जो दिख गया वो मैंने पढ़ लिया. The best example is your type box. What you have in your mobile phone's keypad. You want to write travel. It will come time. You will see the time. You will waste your time. So again, I would say it's very contextual. When with time, who knows, after 5 years, we might have more relevancy of crowdsourced products. But as of now, we are a confused market. So there are no takers of crowdsourced model, at least for the coming 5 years, in terms of pure information. If it's about a niche, if it's about a purpose, there might be.
All right, Gaurav, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate you taking the time and waiting for us and the audience. Right. Thank you so much.